people. Dancing on the people like a
Everybody in the booth can tell myself apart from you.
Okay, so I'm super stoked to be home. I just got back from a round trip down to Montana. It was a bit of a wild goose chase because my Corvette suspension actually didn't end up at the address I use. It ended up about 2.5 hours away. So I had to quickly change plans and go down and grab that, but I've got it. I've got the adapters from Dobbertin Performance. I've got the 2002 suspension and transmission in my truck outside right now. So let's fire this thing up and we'll go grab that. So these two top boxes are what we got from Dobbertin. Dobbertin is located in, I think it's called Pinelville, New York. Rick is the fellow I dealt with there, and judging from everything online, this is some legit stuff here. And like seriously, the first look here, I am super impressed with this stuff. Wow. All machined aluminum pieces, like these are absolutely gorgeous. We've got, basically they've done a cast aluminum setup. This is what your upper control arms and what your suspension mounts to, so that you can utilize the C5 suspension in any application really. And they have done a fantastic job. Like this was worth the money. Let me put it that way. Okay, so now we've got the suspension and transmission. Let's get to this. This stuff's amazing. I can't believe how good a shape this is in for an 02 with 150,000 miles. You can definitely tell Georgia is a different climate than Canada because this aluminum doesn't have the typical scaling that you'd see on stuff around here. It is so clean and it looks like new.
Looking closely at the front here, this one is 7 inches under stock so that it'll fit up underneath the Corvair. We'll flip over quick here to the rear. You can see how much narrower it is than the factory C5. This one's 9 inches under stock, all done by Dobbertin Performance. So we've got the front assembled. We only had one fitment issue. There was just a little casting nub on the cradle itself that interfered with the adapters. So we took a grinder to this right here, and a couple seconds later these things fit on no problem. We are waiting on the air suspension for this thing. I bought that from Airrex. It's an air strut that allows 5 inches of travel. The lower control arm bolt on the cradle of these Corvettes, the factory height is 6.5 inches off the ground. So with a 5-inch travel air strut, I should be able to lower this thing right down to within an inch of the ground, which is exactly where I want it at. I was lucky enough the other day to have my oldest son Dax with me, helping me out, finishing up a few loose ends, removing the old emergency brake, removing the old fiberglass heater channel, removing just a bunch of linkages and things we don't need under there that are going to be in the way. So he was there, helped me figure all that out right before my buddy Lloyd takes over and builds us a chassis for this thing. This is the rear assembly. It took about a day to fit this differential. The lower cradle has a little bit of a clearance issue on the right-hand side, which we knew about before we got into this. So we did some cutting and some die grinding, not a big deal. If you have any questions, shoot me a message or comment on the video. I'll get back to you. In my opinion, this is the easiest way to get a high performance suspension underneath your old school project.